Well, today, UN weapons inspectors report their findings on last month's alleged chemical weapons attack in Syria. It is expected to confirm the use of deadly poison gas, but may not say who ordered it. This, as Secretary of State John Kerry briefs allies on a U.S.-Russia arms agreement hammered out over the weekend. But Kerry says not so fast. The threat of a strike is still very real. Doug Luzader's live for us in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Heather. Well, a Syrian official is already declaring victory on this. And as you mentioned, there is this new UN report coming out today that's expected to confirm the use of chemical weapons in Syria. It may not matter all that much at this point. This new agreement is in place, and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry will now try to start selling it to the rest of the world. Under this agreement, the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad must disclose the location of his chemical weapons stockpiles later this week and then destroy them by the middle of next year.
The Russians have agreed. They state that the Assad regime has agreed to make its declaration within 1 week of the location and the amount of those weapons.
So who are the winners at this point? Well, President Obama, who was painted into a corner politically looking for a way out in Syria and may have almost accidentally found an out. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, even though he's going to be turning over his weapons, it's a very slow process that may be almost impossible to fully enforce, and he bought his regime a lot of time. Finally, Russian President Vladimir Putin, who emerges as a bigger player in the Mideast, where he may ultimately become a larger thorn in the side of the United States, particularly when it comes to Iran.
I think it gave Russia a position in the Middle East which they haven't had since 1970. We are now depending on the goodwill of the Russian people if Bashar Assad violates this agreement. And I am of the firm belief, given his record, that is a very, very big gamble.
Now, the losers here may be the U.S.-backed rebel groups in Syria that were counting on U.S. military strikes to weaken the Assad regime during this ongoing Syrian civil war. Heather and Ainsley.
All right, Doug Luzader, live for us in Washington. Thanks, Doug.